So we felt like we finally got a win where our offense wasn't necessarily clicking that great. It's a little bit more about toughness and defense and grit. So, I was proud of our guys, and we really didn't play anywhere close to where I feel like we're capable of playing. Sears obviously played well. Ryland played well, particularly in the first half. Grant came alive for us in the second half, but we had two starters that didn't play anywhere close to their potential, and I think that they're going to come. So, the LSU game, if we're going to try to compete for the league championship, you've got to win home games. Our guys can't be up and down. We can't play really hard against Auburn because it's a rival game, and then not play as hard because we got that win. We got to fight complacency in that regard because we haven't proved that we can do it consistently, two halves over a long stretch, which is what it's going to take to win the league. So we got to come out with a much better start. We've had terrible starts to games, terrible starts to halves. So somehow we got to figure out how to start the game better, or we're not in a hole. But we're looking forward to playing. Shoot, if we're in first place and we're in full control of our destiny, the two teams we're tied with in the loss column, we both still have again. We get Tennessee back here. Hopefully we do a lot better, and we get Auburn at their place. So, we're a third of the way through the league and in first place. So we're in a good spot. We just got to keep playing better. We got to get all of our guys playing with some confidence, and I think we can do that. Now, talking about LSU, they've Coach McMahon's done a really good job. It's hard to judge a coach in year one, particularly with what he took over. He had no kids on scholarship for a while there last summer, so he's gotten more of what his roster would look like. They did really well in the transfer portal. The top two scorers are both transfers in. They got big boost when Cook was able to play this year, and then Jordan Wright's familiar with this league and playing really well for him. So, they've already got more wins this year than they had all of last year. So, and I don't think our team will take these guys for granted just because we blew them out last year. For one, most of our guys weren't here last year when we did that. And two is LSU is a completely different team. So I think they're much improved. They've played really well in league. They had some close losses. So they're right in there with everybody. So we got to be ready to go.
Coach, after the game, you mentioned how Jiren's kind of grown up these last two games. Just where have you seen him improve since he got on campus?
He's got more confidence. He's playing more aggressive. He's more consistent with his physicality. We saw he could be physical right away on campus. It just showed up once or twice a day. Now it's a lot more frequent. It's more of his DNA that he can do it on every play. He's learning the system. He's defensively, he's playing with a little bit more of an edge. He's got a lot better sense of urgency to him. You got to get used to playing at this level when every possession matters and every guy you're going against is another really high-level athlete. For a kid that's supposed to be in high school still, he's come a long ways, and he's playing really well for us right now.
Yeah, you've talked this season about finishing and just whether it be the first half or the second half. What, in terms of how you guys finished against Auburn, do you want channeled, and what can you guys take away from that?
Yeah, I thought, we obviously the start to the first half wasn't great, but then we were able to close and be up on them 14 at the half. I thought we really pushed through, realized the intensity level wasn't where we needed to be to start and raise it there. And then for the game, I thought we did some really good things into game-wise, up three, fouling when we did, getting the rebound at the free throw line. Not the fouling on the three-point shot. You don't want to do that. That was not a good play. Questionable whether or not it was a call, but you shouldn't put yourself in a spot where they can even call it like that. But I think for the most part, we executed pretty well. Grant stepped up, made some huge free throws for us. So, I think some guys got some confidence that we can execute late game and shoot. We had Jiren in there. freshman that execute, and I thought he did pretty well for us there late in the game.
You kind of talked about responding from a big win, but you're entering a stretch of the season where you're going to have a few games where you're expected to win, and then you're going to have another tough part of the schedule. Just how important is, if you kind of like see this season as a race, how important is it to kind of pick up your pace over these next 3 games so you're hitting your stride later in the season?
I think it's very important. I think you need confidence when you're going into these big games. You need it on both sides of the ball. You need to know you can really sit down, lock up an opponent. You know, I challenge our guys. We you know, in years in the past when we've won the SEC, we've had some dominating wins from start to finish. We haven't had any of those yet. And I'm not saying we'll be able to do that against LSU per se. They're a really good team. But, you know, at some point here, like you said, when we're playing some of these teams that we know are better than, I'm not saying that LSU's very talented, but you're talking about over the stretch here. We need to have a dominating win where it's first 4 minutes we're up. Everybody knows who the better team is. Everybody knows who's playing harder that night. Continues the next 4, and it just continues throughout the game. Like we had that against LSU last year. Again, much different team last year. We had it against Vanderbilt, Georgia. You know, we had some of those 2 years before that. When we, you know, kind of when we won the SEC the first time, we had those two. So we do need to get on a run, taking care of the ball, getting stops here, going into some of the tougher games we're going to have at some point in the season.
After your first year here, you've only lost 5 games in this building. What kind of advantage do you think this building has had over your time here?
I didn't realize that. So what's that? Years 2, 3, 4, and now 5. So in 4 years, 3.5 years, we've lost 5 games. One of them being Clemson this year. Yeah, I look, the one, it helps to have really good players. You know, typically a team with better players wins. So it's nice we had Herb Jones, John Petty, Primo, Bediako, Brandon Miller. We go down the list. So Jaden Shackelford, we had some really good players. So that's number one. Number 2 is I do think when this crowd gets going, you saw it Wednesday against Jay Williams, saw it Wednesday against Auburn. It can be one of the better crowds in the SEC. We need it every game. Not saying the 5 losses are because of the crowd, it's because of how we played, but we need it every game, not just Auburn. You know, not just when Baylor comes to town 2 years ago. Not, you know, we put together a pretty good schedule, but we need that environment every game. So Saturday night, hopefully this place is sold out, says ruckus as it was on Wednesday, because that's what we need to get really have this program rolling, be one of the top programs in the country like we're trying to get it to.
You talked the other night about kind of taking Rylan and challenging him and talking to his dad, letting him talk to JQ and preparing him for that bench role. Can you see that moving forward? I'm not necessarily asking you if you're going to be changing the lineup each game, but kind of pairing players more in that sense of, hey, we might do like this game to try to get that set it up.
Yeah, we probably need more one-on-ones, spelling out exactly what they need, challenging them. Here's where you've been good. Here's where you haven't been good. Here's what we really need you to focus on. You know, sometimes situations present themselves. I think in Ryland's case, you know, he didn't play very well against Tennessee. He wasn't as focused as he needed to be, and you know, sat down and had a long conversation. Like, here's what we need out of you, and talk through some stuff. You know, that's part of coaching. You got to have players that are willing to take some constructive criticism and take it to heart and change. So we need to get that, like you said, you need to get a few more players playing really well now. So I still haven't determined what I'm going to do with the lineup. We kind of ran right from practice into here. Practice was super intense. I thought it was one of the better ones to win as far as intensity goes. You know, we got to be able to play intense and take care of the ball and not foul. That's, you know, it's still an issue, but you know, we may make a change. I don't know. We'll see. We have to have a better start. I mean, it's the group that's been starting pretty much every game just hasn't been able to provide us the starts we need. So we'll discuss as a staff and figure something out.
You know, this isn't on you by any means, but Alabama basketball gets sort of a bad reputation for its crowd, like after the other night with the fuck you Auburn chant. And I wonder if that's not your job, I understand, but I wonder if you think there's any solution to that, or does it matter?
I didn't hear that. I wasn't aware of that. I mean, look, I want the crowd. I think what makes college basketball is you get the age group that we've got as college students, and they bring a certain energy to the game. My assistant, Coach Pinot, was in the NBA, and he keeps commenting on how great the crowds are. Not being disrespectful. I do not condone any type of disrespect at all, but I didn't hear that. I wasn't aware of it. We want our crowd to be super loud. We want them to do it with class. We want them to support us, give us energy. And I'll say this, we play in some really tough road environments in the SEC. Think about when we go to Auburn and when we go to some places, it'd be nice if everybody's crowd, particularly ours, who we have more control over, was super loud, super energetic, and very respectful in their cheers. But I'm not sure I got a whole lot of control over what exactly is being said, nor am I aware of what's being said most of the time. I've learned a long time ago to tune the crowd out and try to focus on what the game is. If I hear, I don't think I want to hear what they're saying about me on the road all the time. Yep, thanks, fellas.